Controversial Arizona immigration law.
Our immigration system is broken.
Fire in the Bronx that killed a bunch of illegal aliens.
The time has come to fix it once and for all.
What besides skin color would give somebody, a cop, a reasonable suspicion?
The time's come for a comprehensive, sensible immigration reform.
Obama, escucha, estamos en la lucha. Obama, escucha, estamos en la lucha. Obama, escucha, estamos en la lucha. Obama, escucha, estamos en la lucha.
My name is Sitlali. I'm a student at Georgetown, and I have lived my entire life with the realities of undocumented status. I actually had my first birthday here in the United States, and there's a picture of me in LA where I first lived, and I'm just eating tons of birthday cake on top of a table somewhere. And that's when my parents first joked that even at 1 I was American. The first time that I actually had to face the realities of what my status entailed was when I was actually at a summer camp my sophomore year of high school, or actually the summer of my sophomore year of high school. And it was something very small that I remember. Obviously not like small in consequence, but just something small that resulted in the actual incident. But we were actually going to a NASA trip, and I was unable to go for obvious reasons because there was a background check involved, and you can't go into the building unless you're a United States citizen, or if you're a permanent resident, you need to go through a background check as well. So I obviously didn't have any sort of documentation, and I remember being brought into this room with all of the people that were in charge of the program, the counselors included, the RAs, and the program director. And they just sat me down and asked me if I had any proof of citizenship. And I just told them I didn't, and that I couldn't provide anything like that for them. And so I also ended up flying a couple of times, which was very nerve-wracking because I had to fly with my passport, which of course doesn't have a visa on it. So really all that any TSA officers needed to do was flip the page to see that I didn't have a visa. Luckily, they never were curious enough to actually flip the page, so I ended up just being fine on those trips.
The government is really in charge of kind of regulating who can come into the country, who can stay in the country. So in terms of making our country or continuing to have a country of immigrants, we have to have policies that allow people to have a just and fair way of getting into this country and staying into this country. Because we have this problem where certain people of certain nationalities are able to come here quite easily, and other people, it's just not accessible the way the laws are.
So the immigration rally on April 10th for immigration reform was important for a variety of reasons. First, it was a good attempt, I think, from a lot of immigrant organizations around the country to come to one place and come together for, just basic principles that we would like to see be addressed in immigration reform that is being discussed right now in Congress. So that was definitely something that was absolutely necessary, and I think Georgetown students really came out in support of comprehensive immigration reform, something that we should definitely be seeing from a lot of campuses across the country, because a lot of the students identify with just the immigrant experience, or they consider their families or their history as part of this larger immigrant community. So,
well, it's really important for our country for economic reasons. Immigrants are such an important part of the U.S. economy. They always have been, really. Immigrants create a lot of businesses. They hire a lot of American citizens as well as immigrants. They're very innovative. Some of the top CEOs.
So I think one of the main goals of Lawyers for Immigrant Rights has really been to address these sort of systemic problems and really address the legal aspects and that really contribute to the inequality that is fostered all around the country in reference to immigrants. So a lot of the events that we do host sort of tackle what it means to create identities around being an immigrant and what that entails for the community. And what we're really attempting is to educate a lot of individuals, both here at Georgetown and around the DC area, in order for them to understand where the inequality is fostered and where it begins and how that eventually actualizes into something that creates disparities for a lot of immigrant communities, whether it's economic inequality or simply just having a different legal status or having no legal status at all can really affect your entire life and a lot of aspects of your life. When I came to college, I think I realized and I became even more aware of the different disparities between just a normal college student and then sort of the situation that I was going through. Even I think for international students, it is a lot different because you have the ability to work and you don't necessarily live in fear of not being here the next day or your family not being here the next day or just being part of a society that you feel you're part of but doesn't formally acknowledge you